Hey guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with my mid-month wrap-up for September. We're already halfway through September, which is crazy. However, my weather, I feel like I start every wrap-up being like, I hate summer, I hate how hot it is. I am miserable. It is 85 degrees today in Ohio, and it is September 16th, 15th, 16th, the day that I'm filming this. So I feel like, where's my fall? We got like a week of fall weather, and then it got back up in the 80s, and it's gonna be in the 80s for the rest of the week. I am dying. So I literally was filming something in my bedroom and sweating because it's just way too hot outside. So that's why I'm in a t-shirt today. I don't like filming in t-shirts, but we're just in a random t-shirt I threw on too. I didn't even think about what I was wearing and the fact that I had to film today. So I hope you enjoy my Fiber Festival t-shirt that I have on. Anyways, we have 10 books we're going to talk about, technically 9 because I did do a beta read. So I have read 9 books so far in the month. I like to do my mid-month wrap-ups because I read so much and don't want these videos to be an hour long. So I will go ahead and get to all the books that I've read. I had a pretty decent month, so I do have another one that I read that I didn't add in my pile. So we will go ahead and chat about these. The first book I listened to, I was in a very fall spooky mood, which is what is the theme for this video. So I read Charming Your Dad by Sarah Blue. I love Sarah Blue's Megaverse. This one is her demon witch romance, and I've been really into witchy romances. I especially love The Marriage Hex, which was her romance where it was a witch and a werewolf, and I'm actually reading The Fang Arrangement, which is her new book that comes out next week possibly. It comes out on like the 25th or something, and that's a witch and a vampire, and it's so freaking good right now. This one I did not love. I gave this one 3 stars. It was just like a little too long for me, and I was not like super obsessed with like the story or anything, and there were like a lot of things happening, and I don't know. I listened to it on audio and I wish that I had enjoyed it more, but like there's nothing I can really put my finger on other than I think like the plot just didn't work for me, and I wasn't too obsessed with the romance. Like she was dating this guy, but like she wasn't really that into him, and then she met this other guy and didn't know that he was her dad, and then he's like kind of estranged from his son but like working on his relationship, and he's a demon and stuff. So that was the plot of this one. It was just alright. I don't think I'll continue this series. I think I'll just stick with her other ones that she's coming out with right now. I'm really sad I didn't love this one. Unless you've read more in the series and you liked the other ones better, this one just was not for me. Then I did do a beta read, which means that I did read the pretty much second draft / first draft of a book. The author wrote it, she read through it, and then sent it off to betas. So I did beta read a book, which I cannot talk about, but I did read that, so that counts as a number of books that I read this month. And then I did listen to Impractical Magic by Emily Grimoire. My problem with this, which I've seen in quite a few fall romances recently, is that I feel like the author or publisher is like, write this and here are all the ingredients and put it together in a book, and it's like has all the fall vibes, it has all the witchy vibes, it has all the aesthetic, but like the actual putting it together and writing it fails so bad. So this one I gave 3 stars, probably more like 2.5. This one was just like, it was fine, but I just feel like so much of was missing from this. So much substance, so much backstory, so much just like depth to the characters. So the heroine has not been home in 10 years and she hasn't been using any of her magic. Her mom is like, hey, like magic is like running awry in town, and anytime anybody uses magic, it goes wrong. Can you help us figure out what's wrong? And so they're trying to figure it out. So it's kind of like a cozy mystery in that aspect, but there's also a guy there that she kind of had a thing with before. Did not know really any substance or depth to his character at all, and then it was just like everyone was kind of mean to each other, and then there were some weird things. I just feel like it wasn't as funny as it was trying to be, and the author knew what she wanted to do, but the execution was just not there. So I've seen a lot of reviews for this one as well of the same thing. This had come out last year and I was really excited to read it last year. I didn't get to it, so I listened to the audio this year and I just wasn't a fan. Then I listened to the audio of The Rejected Mate by Kate C. Wells. This one I gave 4 stars. This one is a Rejected Mate's werewolf romance, and it was really fun. It did not have as much groveling. I feel like I say that every time I talk about this book. I expected like hardcore groveling, and that did not happen in this book, so don't go in expecting that. But this one, the hero is the alpha of their pack, and the heroine is kind of on the outskirts where she's more so part of the like outcasts of the pack, and she really takes care of them, and she does a lot that she's not supposed to do. Like she'll go into the human town and like trade things and sell things and make money so that she can spend stuff on them, like on phones and on gaming consoles and stuff like that. And so she sees this girl all over the hero, and her wolf immediately is like mine. And her wolf comes out and she has not transitioned yet. And when she was young, she was injured, she was attacked and never recovered successfully. So she does have a leg that doesn't work properly. And so her wolf also has that same injury when it's in the wolf form too. She basically challenges this woman and the woman is like, who are you and what are you doing? And the hero is like, I don't know what is wrong with you. I am not your mate. And basically declares in front of everybody that they're not mates. And so she runs off and she asks this like kind of witchy character to break their bond. And so the story goes from there and the hero realizes, oh no, that was my mate. And so he does have to kind of try to kind of win her back, but doesn't really win her back. He's just like around a lot and like very protective of her and follows her around a lot. So that was the plot. I still really liked it and I really liked the direction it went to near the end as well with certain things. Like a lot of things were like full circle moments at the end of this book, which I really enjoyed seeing that. And so it kind of gave a lot more depth to their relationship that I appreciated seeing. So 4 stars, really good. I did enjoy this one. Then for my Nora Roberts book club that I do with my Patreon, we read The Awakening, which is our first, we've been doing this for almost 2 years now, and this is our first Nora fantasy, and this felt so Nora. I gave this one 4.5 stars. I had so much fun reading this one. The audio, so good. This definitely really felt like an intro book. Like there was not a ton of the magic system yet, but you know we're gonna go there. Like this definitely set it up where the heroine, she's just going about her life and she's a teacher and she realizes that she has an account in her name for literally millions of dollars. And she's like, what is this? And they're like, your mom told us like you weren't of sound mind and that you're really lazy and you like can't have access to this money because you can't be trusted with it. But your father has been giving you money. And she's like, I haven't spoken to my father in years and I thought he just like didn't care. And she's like, what do you mean? Like I literally have a job. I have multiple jobs. I have debt. Like I am working like crazy to pay off my debt. And she had to go into debt for college. And she's like, I didn't have to. Like, and she is so livid about her mom. And then she's like, I'm gonna go find my dad in Ireland. So she goes to Ireland to explore her family and her past and discovers magic. And there's this whole kind of portal world where things are happening. And she ends up having to go to train with this guy who like really is infuriating and pushes her buttons, and it's their romance. And he's very much like an alpha mean kind of hero, but like he is mean because he cares kind of thing. And they have a romance together and she's growing closer with certain people that knew her father. And there's some dragons, there's an evil that's lurking that definitely wants her. And so we are definitely going to see that I think in the next book. And the ending was so cute in this one. Her friends are so adorable. I love her whole found family she has in the human world. And so I was just hooked from this. I literally listened to the entire thing in one day and was never bored and was fully engaged. And I had so much fun reading this one. So I'm excited to continue on in the series and definitely excited to read more fantasy from Nora. Then I did read an arc of Wild Card by Elsie Silver. This is my special edition I got from Barnes & Noble with the art inside. This is an ex's dad romance and I loved this. I think I just have a really soft spot for Bash because Bash's character is so soft, but like he is a firefighter and he specifically does a lot of like wildfire fighting, which I really love, and it was so fun. Elsie had done a newsletter and then she just did a post today explaining that she had actually experienced wildfires and was so just like in awe of the firefighters that were fighting this wildfire that she decided to change the entire hero of this book to be a wildlife firefighter. And so Bash did not know he had a son until his son was already like 24, and he was 15 when he had his son, and the woman he had the son with is very like rich and spoiled, and just like her parents didn't think he was good enough, so she never told him. And then she finally tells him his son is a professional hockey player and he is just in the midst of figuring all this out. He met his son, he's coming home, and he gets stuck in the airport. His flight gets canceled and he ends up spending this whirlwind night with this woman who is like 27, 28, and he gets her number and she never responds. And later, about a year later, he sees her again at his son's birthday party as his girlfriend. I loved how protective Bash was over her, even though she wasn't his. Like something even happens at the birthday party where he is like, you do not speak to her that way, you do not demean her that way, you do not treat her that way. And I loved how protective he was of her. At one point she was like crying of happiness and he shows up and he's like, who hurt you? Who do I have to like take out because no one makes you cry? I love that about his character, and he is so desperate to have a good relationship with his son because he has always wanted to be a father, and he's just kind of accepted the fact that it might not be happening for him because he is divorced and his ex-wife didn't want kids, and he's like, maybe it's just like not in the cards for me. And now that he has that chance, he's like, I really want to be a good dad for my son and not fall for his ex, even though they are exes. And then he is taking care of Clyde, who is our adorable, lovable older guy who's been hanging around in these books, and Clyde has to have an operation. So he moves Clyde into his house, and Clyde actually hires Gwen to be his like nurse, but she's not a nurse, just like his companion, someone who can help out and like take him to appointments and stuff. So they all have to live in his house together. And it's so good. I love this so much. I give it 5 stars. One of my favorites in the series, actually, probably because of Bash's character, but I really loved Gwen's character too, and what kind of side of him that she brought out, and it was just so good. Then you might have seen I did a fun little bodice ripper video on my channel on Friday, and it was a collab with Samantha and Christy, who I do the Historical Hellions book club with. If you did not know, I used to read a ton of historical romance. Like most of my reading, at least half, was historical romance back in like 2020, 2021, even going into 2022. And the height of like Bridgerton, I was obsessed, and I loved all the bodice rippers. I still really love historical romances. I just feel like publishing is ruining them, and that therefore ruins my enjoyment of them, and I have not been reading them as much, but I would love to read more old school for sure. So I read 2 for that video. We were reading older bodice rippers, so I did pick up Where Passion Leads by Lisa Kleypas. This was published in 1987. This is her first ever published book. She was 22 when this was published. I found this at an estate sale, screamed when I saw it, and got it for $1. This goes for like $100, $150, $200 online. It's very hard to find. It is not in print because of the horrible consent issues in the beginning. And now I am reading this through the lens of, this is from the 1980s, a very different time of publishing, and so I did not let that sway my rating. I gave this one 3 stars. I really like Lisa Kleypas's writing style. I feel like, so it's funny because Christy and Samantha said this didn't feel like a Lisa Kleypas book, which like in the characters it didn't, but I feel like in the writing it did. It's so visceral. We have a passionate sweeping romance. We see her settings so vividly. They went to Paris and she is living this like crazy life. So the beginning of the book is, I think she's like a maid for a family. She's of the serving class, and she and her mother go to the theater, and there's a fire that happens, so she gets swept away and lost from her mom, and this horrible guy finds her and is literally gonna do horrible things to her. And she falls at the feet of our hero, who is with a bunch of his wealthy friends. He's a lord, his grandfather's an earl, he's really rich. He sees her, basically buys her off of this guy and takes her home, and then in the morning he does assault her. The whole plot then is him feeling bad because he realized she's a virgin. He thought she was lying. She wasn't. He's like, man, I really shouldn't have done that, should I? And I was like, no duh. They basically blame him for like his behavior on the fact that he had a bad childhood, and he's just used to taking anything he wants. So he spends the rest of the book trying to make sex pleasurable for her and make up the fact that he assaulted her in the beginning. And that's the plot. So I will say she is ravished by him. Like, he shows her how pleasurable sex can be, and there are a lot of sex scenes in here, and that's like the basis of their relationship. She finds him so just masculine and overpowering and irresistible, and he obviously can't control himself around her, but I think it was just so interesting to read and so fascinating to read because there's so many like iconic tropes in here that we see every day in dark romance, in just romance in general. We have like forced proximity. We do have like her spending all of his money because he's rich and she's mad at him, but he's keeping her with him. So it's definitely so interesting to read for like the building blocks of the romance genre, but the romance was severely lacking in this one, so 3 stars. Then I did get to read Prisoner of My Desire by Joanna Lindsey. This one is a classic, iconic one. I was very excited to read this because I know that Joanna Shupe has talked about this. She's another contemporary historical romance author, and in this one, oh, and Joanna Shupe also writes Mafia, which I think is very important for this discussion. This one's a very dark romance, but this is like an OG dark romance. Like, I'm thinking like what Rena Kent writes today, H.G. Carlton, like that is stemming from Joanna Lindsey from the 80s and 90s. So this one, our heroine is forced to marry this really old guy by her stepbrother, and he's like, you need to have his heir so that we can claim his lands, but he dies on their wedding bed. and they haven't done anything yet. And her brother comes in and he's like, what did you do? And she's like, he just died. He's like, well, did you do it? And she's like, no. And so he's like, well, you need to have his baby, and too bad he's blonde and I don't have blonde hair, or else I would do the job myself, because he's like weirdly in love with her. So he sends his men out to kidnap the first blonde guy they see, which is our hero, who is actually a knight. He doesn't know he's a knight. He thinks he's just some random guy at a hotel. So he brings him and he chains him up and tells her, I'm gonna murder your mother unless you get pregnant with his baby. So she is desperate, spends 3 nights trying to get pregnant from him. And you know, a guy can't have a baby without during that. So she ends up having to make him try to make a baby with her. And so he is livid because he is like powerless, and he is just this knight who is usually in charge and in control. So she lets him go, and he is so angry that he kidnaps her back. And he's like, I'm gonna make you enjoy it too. So that's what he does. Basically keeps her kidnapped in his castle thing. I don't know where he lived actually. He has some sort of estate. And the story goes from there. They fall in love. It was really entertaining. I will say the last 20% was like a little too slow for my taste, so that's why it's getting a 4-star, but I loved it. I loved the push and pull between them. I loved how angry they were at each other, but more so angry about the fact that they really, really liked each other and they didn't want to like each other, and there was just a lot of tension between them, and it was so good. I had so much fun reading this. I gave this one 4 stars. So if you want to, check it out. It's definitely a more bonkers plot line from Joanna Lindsey and like historical romance in general. It's very dark, a dark premise, but I enjoyed it. Then I did read Every Step She Takes by Alison Cochrane. This one I also gave 4 stars. This one actually is my least favorite I've read by her. I think I've given everything I've read by her 5 stars, but this one was good. I feel like there just wasn't enough external plot that I usually get from her books. So in this one, the one heroine is 35 and she has never been in a relationship. She's never had sex. She's never been interested in it. She's never really wanted to date anybody. And she's like, is something wrong with me? And she's like, maybe I'm actually a lesbian. Like maybe it's just like the fact that I don't like guys. And so her sister is a travel influencer and she gets injured and she's like, I'm supposed to go on this tour of Portugal. You need to go in my place and write a blog post for me. So she agrees and then hits some turbulence and has some Xanax and wine on the way there. So she's a little tipsy, and during the turbulence she starts spilling all of her secrets and just questioning about her sexuality to her seatmate. And she's like, I think I'm a lesbian, and like goes all off on this tangent about like why, and realizes what she's doing and freaks out. And then they land, they think they're going their separate way, but they actually are going on this tour together because this tour is for queer people. They think that the one heroine who's coming, who is questioning her sexuality, is just the only straight person on there because her sister couldn't go because her sister's bisexual. So our heroine ends up confiding into the other one that she does really think that she might be queer, but she feels like she missed out on all those like just quintessential experiences growing up queer. And so the other one's like, I'll help you have those. So let's go get a really bad haircut. Let's go get tattoos. Let's go just do these things that you could have done as a teenager when you're exploring your sexuality. Let's go hit on a stranger at a bar kind of thing. And so they have to room together on this trip. It's very forced proximity. It's very cute and fun. I had a lot of fun reading this one. The romance was adorable. I do think the ending did go in a direction like kind of dragging because it had to like do some other things with some family stuff, but overall really fun sapphic romance, and I just love this author's book so much, so 4 stars. And the last book I read was Leaf and Let Die by Lainey Hatcher. This one is a small town rivals to lovers romance where they've been rivals since like elementary school. They just pull pranks on each other and they've never really liked each other, but the hero's doing it because he likes her. But they are from rival apple farms, which like quote unquote rival. They get along just fine, but they have always just like poked at each other, and they're in their late 20s now, and the hero is like, oh my god, I like actually have really liked her this whole time. So he starts being nicer to her and they kind of turn into a friends with benefits situation, and someone is sabotaging his farm, and he immediately had assumed it was her and kind of like blasted her to the whole town, and she's like, it's not me. And so then they have to kind of go on stakeouts together to try to figure out who it is, and then she is kind of trying to figure out what she wants out of life because she's like, I'm like 27, 28, I'm just kind of going along doing the odd jobs. Like, what am I passionate about? Do I want to grow in my position at the apple farm? Like, what am I doing? We have a great cast of small town characters. This was so cute and fun. I gave it 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I do think I liked book 1 a little bit better, but this is book 3, but it takes place in the fall, so it starts in like September, but it does go through the spring, so we like get all the seasons in this one. But so cute. The hero is just such a personality and I really liked him, and the romance was fun. So definitely check out Lainey Hatcher if you hadn't yet. And those are all the books that I've read so far in the month of September. Let me know what you've read in the comments down below, and let me know if you've read any of these. I would love to hear. If you've made it this far, leave me a sunflower emoji to match the cover of Leaf and Let Die. Leave that emoji in the comments just to let me know you watched, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.